It's just kind of this clean slate, and I feel like a lot of focus is on the people that have already been in college for, 2, 3, 4 years. And I feel like at the same time, like, people don't really expect freshmen to be up there. Obviously, I'm a competitor and I want to be up with whoever's up top. But yeah, having that like reputation, like freshman reputation of like, oh, you don't, it's an adjustment period. It kind of gives me that advantage of, people aren't really expecting anything. Obviously, I expect things for myself. So I think it's a great position to be in.
That was Sadie Engelhardt back today on the Running Effect podcast. It's an absolute privilege to welcome Sadie back on. We kind of have this little tradition, I feel like, where Sadie comes on every couple of months and breaks down her training mindset goals. This time we are transitioning from her remarkable historic high school career into her collegiate career, where she now is an athlete, a student athlete at NC State in, I think, Raleigh, North Carolina. Hopefully I got that right. But in high school, Sadie was a national record holder. She was a national champion. She was a state champion in her home state, the great state of California, and did things at the high school level that have never been seen before. And now she's transitioning to college, where she hopes to do that and then some. But as we talk about in this conversation, it's nice not to have the pressure right away. We talk about closing out her high school career on a positive note, how she handled that pressure in high school, why she likes the pressure, her expectations for her time in college, what it's like to train with other people. We also talk about her new NIL deal with Brooks, her perspective on the collegiate scene and training with teammates, and the whole 9 yards. This is a really enjoyable conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it and find as much value from it as I personally did. And if that's the case, hit the follow button, because we release an episode every other day. So hit the follow button so you don't miss any of those episodes. Give us a 5-star review, helps us get back on the charts, helps the podcast with the algorithm, takes 5 seconds, and share this episode with a friend. Word of mouth marketing is the easiest way in which we can grow. And without further ado, enjoy my conversation with the one and only, the absolute legend herself, Sadie Engelhardt. Ladies and gentlemen, she's back. She's finally out of high school, because she's been on the podcast like 5 times talking about her high school national records. Now she's ready to take on the next stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Sadie Engelhardt, welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
How weird is it to be out of high school? I mean, you were like, it was all how many national records can you break and how many national titles can you win? And now it's kind of like this new chapter, which I'm sure is refreshing.
Yeah, I think I was even thinking felt like I was in high school forever. So, yeah, I'm super excited about it.
How weird is it to be not in California in September preparing for like CIF or running in 90 degrees every single day?
Yeah, oh my gosh. It actually hasn't been super like humid and hot this summer, is what all the girls have been saying. Obviously it is hotter than what I deal with in California. But yeah, it's a very different energy, and I think it's kind of this energy where like I don't really have any expectations put on me. So and I think coach does a good job of keeping us all grounded and focused for November. So yeah, it's like calm before the storm almost, it feels like. But yeah, definitely very different than like getting ready for, those 4 weeks of CIF, which can, it was draining. But yeah, I think it's good how the meets are obviously spaced out now. And yeah, I think I'm super excited for it.
To that point, in high school, you were like the biggest fish in a decently big pond, and now you're very much a small fish in a massive pond, which is the NCAA. And I know this conversation is probably going to be wildly different next time I talk to you, after cross or in the spring when you've done a bunch of things. But for now, do you at least relish the fact that you almost haven't had a chance to do something remarkable where like I feel like there's not pressure on you for the first time in like 4 or 5 years? How nice is that?
Yeah, I feel good about kind of this new shift. Yeah, like it's just kind of this clean slate, and I feel like a lot of focus is on the people that have already been in college for 2, 3, 4 years. So and I feel like at the same time, like, people don't really expect freshmen to be up there. Obviously, that's not. I'm a competitor, and I want to be up with, you know, whoever's up top. But yeah, having that, like, I guess, reputation, like freshman reputation of like, oh, you don't, it's an adjustment period. I think it kind of gives me that advantage of, people aren't really expecting anything. Obviously, I expect things for myself. So I think it's a great position to be in.
Is it nice for you, like the men, high school boys have to go from 5K to 10K, they have to double their distance, whereas you just have to add on 1K? I know in our past conversations, you're not the biggest fan of cross country. Is it kind of refreshing that it's not too bad of a shift?
Yeah, I will say, so I've asked the girls, how that shift feels from 5K to 6K, and obviously they say it feels longer because it is. But I've got the general idea that, or from them, that it's not all too bad. So, yeah, I think, we'll see. And Coach does a good job of giving, instructions for that and how to race and whatnot. She's obviously super experienced. So I trust her, and yeah, I'm excited to see, I guess, like what that difference feels like from 5K to 6K. But yeah, I don't think, I hope for the best, and I think, I'm going to do everything in my power for, that not to be a super big adjustment.
From the sounds of it, it sounds like you're not redshirting cross. What was the decision there to go right into things?
Yeah, I think, I wanna help the team. Yeah, I don't know specifically what races I'm racing yet, but I just want to, train to my best ability and ultimately be there for the team. I think Coach reiterates, like, the fact that if your goal is top 7, you have the wrong goal, because, you honestly, like, want your teammates in a way to do better than you if you're working at your best and you're at your fittest. Just so, yeah, you have the best, chance to accomplish your goals as a team. So I just want to be there, work hard for them, and yeah, if the time is right, be there for them.
How nice has the transition been so far of having other girls to push you? I know that was really never the case in high school. A lot of the best people in high school, like, at least get someone maybe their freshman year, like an upperclassman, or maybe sophomore year if they're lucky. You kind of like rode solo for most of your running career in terms of pushing yourself. I know you'd sometimes do workouts with the guys. Is it nice to have other girls to surround yourself with and, be dying on a tempo, but be dying with someone else and not have to go through that experience alone?
Oh, it is life-changing. I think we have like, what, 20-ish girls, and everyone's pretty close with one another. Everyone's laughing, goofing off, but obviously, like, when the time, is to work hard, everyone's working hard, and, kind of locks in and dials into whatever the task is. So, yeah, actually, it's funny, like, the other day, it was actually yesterday, we did a tempo, and I had never gone that pace, for that tempo. It was 5 miles, and yeah, if I was at home, would not be able to have done that. And, I was running with Bethany, and I told her that, and she was like, you helped me too. And it's just a great sense of, like, that community, and it's special, like, what you can do when, you have your best friends, like, around you, kind of pushing at that same level. So yeah, it's awesome.
What advice would you give to a kid out there who isn't yet on their college team and is listening to you and is like, man, I can't wait for those days. I'm right now solo working my ass off on the grass for cross country season. What words of comfort would you give to them?
Yeah, I'd say, obviously it's hard, but I think, you need to have those moments for moments like these when you get to college to be, that much more special. And yeah, just stay consistent. And yeah, if you stay consistent, the transition to college is not going to be as crazy as people say. And yeah, it's so fun. So I guess just, like, keep working hard solo, because it's going to pay off. And it's going to be just a huge switch in a good way once you get to college.
I love the saying I heard, I think a year or two ago, which is like you can go fast alone, but you can go far together. How much of a difference maker do you think it will be to have your training be all that much better because you have people to push you and to make you go further and faster and everything else? And just like one of the best experiences as an athlete is knowing that you're not going through things alone. And that's where I think the power of a team is so special, is because like whether your workouts are going amazing or you're injured or you had a rough day at class, like you have other people you can relate to. And that's like a very rare experience in high school if you're one of the best kids in the nation.
Yeah, I think, just touching on like what I said before, it's just kind of crazy, like things you can do as a team. And I think like in high school, and I guess you said this too, like I probably prefer track, but at the same time, I don't want to be, selling myself short and, saying I'm only good at one thing. And so I think coach kind of instilled that in me too. Like I'm not just like a track runner. I'm good at cross too. And I think like just having those people around me with insane goals and obviously like Grace and Hannah, like, and all those people just inspiring one another every day. It's just great. And I think that like having inspirational people around me plus that training aspect and obviously like the training, like coach knows what she's doing, and just being able to trust that completely has been amazing. So I'm excited to see results and in these races. I think I'm hoping it's looking like it'll be a little different from high school in a good way, so I'm excited.
Maybe I can't mention it because it's the school across from you guys. People know what I'm talking about. Ethan Strand told me, he's a 1,500-meter runner through and through, I would say, despite also holding the NCAA record in 3K indoors. And he and Milt kind of knew that he could do everything he'd do on the track once he placed, I think, 8th on the grass, because they were like, this isn't your forte, and you just placed 8th in the entire country for a 10K on the grass. Do you feel similar where it's like, yeah, maybe, you could compete for a national title one day on the grass, but maybe also it's just the perspective of like, hey, if we're doing objectively like impressive stuff on the grass as someone who is very track focused and very good at track, like that's a really good indication. Like you don't have to win the 15 in track and then the expectation is like go winning cross. It's like, well, go be an All-American and that's going to translate. You're going to get
Exactly.
that strength and it's going to translate.
Yeah, and there's clearly like different goals. Obviously in track I'm probably a little bit more ambitious because I know my strengths, and I feel like with cross I'm trying to still figure those strengths out and understand what I'm good at and what I need to work on. I think I do relate to that because at the same time, like it's not like, I don't know, I was like bad at cross. It's just like not, I think relatively it probably wasn't where I wanted to be. But yeah, I feel like I can really work on that and switch that up here. So I'm excited.
I was going to say, like, how do you get through cross, because track's your favorite sport, but I'll flip the question and say, is it kind of nice to have cross to break up track, because the track season is so much longer with indoor, outdoor, and then specifically for you in high school, you kind of had the weird stretch where it was like, okay, well, I qualify for USA's, that's so much farther out than like a Brooks PR or a New Balance Outdoor Nationals. Is it nice to actually have this kind of reprieve where it's like you're not hitting 200s all out at the end of workouts, and you're doing workouts that maybe you don't enjoy, but it does keep your mind fresh because the year-long schedule for a distance runner is so long?
Yeah, I think, it does definitely, break that up. And I think being on the track, twice a week doing workouts, I love it, but obviously I think like you need a break at some point. And the grass, I feel like, I don't know, like I've been feeling just like, I guess, stronger, like in the longer stuff, obviously. And I think I need that for track. And I think that's another way that coach approaches it as well is just like, this is kind of like a strength block for track. Obviously, we have goals as a team, and we want to accomplish them. But I think for me too, like, I want to get the strongest I can in this like aerobic kind of stage, so that I can, crush it later in, the spring. So yeah, it's kind of like balancing those two. Like, obviously we have the goals, but I want to become a better runner from this strength block.
Speaking about some of the high school stuff before continuing down the college rabbit hole, as much as you're willing to be honest and feel comfortable, however much you want to share, how I always want to give people like yourself like the spotlight to talk about it, because I don't think a lot of people have the space, and the mix zone when you're out of breath is not the place to do it, even though a lot of people think it is. Like, how bad was the pressure at times in high school, and how hard was it actually being like a prodigy? Because you were for 4 years, and with that came expectation and spotlight and people constantly talking and speculating. And if you were injured, I'm sure that came with you beating yourself up. Like, what was it actually like to be one of the greatest to ever do it in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I love that pressure. I love everything that goes into racing, and I love, getting on that line, and I think more I expect something of myself, but I just like when everyone kind of knows what's going to happen. That's like my favorite part. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think at times, yeah, it got, I will say, like, I would like restrict certain accounts on Instagram. Like, I don't want to see, it was mostly when I was injured. I would, turn off runner space or turn off mile split, just filter those out, and really just focus and dial in on my training, because, I'm a competitor, and I just get fired up when I see stuff like that, and it sucks when I can't do anything about it. Just, basically my whole last track season was like that, so I kind of had to practice that like mindfulness. Like, I'm able to cross train and to get back into it, and I should be grateful for that. Like, it wasn't that huge of an injury, is kind of how I had to put it, even though it seemed like, since it was my first one, that it was kind of like, oh dang, end of the world. But yeah, no, I think stuff like that, just like restricting stuff, spending time with my friends who don't run, that was a big thing. But at the same time, dialing into getting myself back to where I wanted to be. And obviously, like, I don't think that necessarily, like, I got pretty close at the end there, to where I thought I could be, but definitely not my ultimate goal. So I think that's what's special about this too, is I can be here and grow, and I have even more resources, and I've been dialing in on different things that I didn't dial in high school. So yeah, I think it should be good.
I think one of the tough things I'd love your perspective on is, like, people expect athletes to get significantly better every season, and sometimes that's like really unrealistic, specifically when you're setting national records as early as you did. I forget when your first one was, maybe sophomore year, and it's like, okay, like, it's not a given. It's way hard. Like, she just did something that's never been done before, to assume that she can do it the next 2 seasons. If she does, great. If not, like, this is where I know it's maybe a little harder at the pro level to continue to get better in PR, but a great example is like Grant Fisher. Like, that guy was pissed if you watched his like post-race interviews at the World Champs, and it's like, well, he placed top 8 in 2 events, and 5 years ago he would have been thrilled to make the World Championship event. But because he medaled last year, in both events, that's just his expectation. So something I'm fascinated by is, like, really good athletes have these crazy expectations on themselves, and other people have crazy expectations for themselves too. Because once you do it, everyone thinks that you can immediately do it again. And that's where running is just a brutal sport that is like so confusing. And when things don't click, you have no clue why generally.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think if anything, like you're saying before, the pressure, I think honestly it's more internal, at least is what I've learned from talking to girls on the team or, you know, talking to other runners in high school, I think I feel like as runners, like everyone wants to be perfect. Like it's very like type A, I guess attracts type A personality. So I think everyone has these huge expectations for themselves, which I think is good, but you also have to have a balance. And I think it's good to, have things outside of running, and, you know, have other hobbies and try to, keep yourself well-rounded. I think that's a huge thing. So those expectations don't get too controlling, because that's a serious thing that happens. And I guess once that takes control of you, like it's kind of hard to, get back to kind of that just go with the flow training type of vibe. So yeah, I think it's important to have that balance.
Before moving on to college talk, I want to ask you top 3 most memorable races from high school. 3 to 1
Oh,
off the top of
dang.
your head.
Oh my gosh. I got asked this too. The girls asked me this recently and I blanked, but I think one of them has to be, let's see. I guess even though it wasn't a good race, my first Olympic trials in 2024, that was just like crazy. There were more people in the stands that I've ever seen at Hayward. That was like the first time I've seen it like packed. So that was insane. And then I have to say, my freshman year state meet, when it was me, Dahlia, and Sam McDonald, I'd say that was the 1600. That was that was crazy. I think it was like such a huge buildup. Obviously, those like 5 weeks leading into the state meet, everyone's kind of just like, who's gonna take it? Because everyone was kind of close. And then that race was just insane. It was just a sit and kick. So that'll be second. And then, gosh, number 1. This is crazy. This is hard. I guess I'll say Hoka Festival of Miles, probably my junior year. That was a good one. I think the energy was perfect there, and I was so bummed that I missed it this year, because that one was just, the energy and atmosphere was just electric. So I'd say that one, 2024, was my first.
I think that was the craziest 10 minutes of track I've ever witnessed in my life, when Allie broke it and no one was expecting it. And then everyone was like, we think
That was
Sadie's going to
insane.
get it, but we don't know.
And
So
I remember I was in staging everything, and like sometimes there's just these races where everything just goes wrong, and I'm like struggling with my bib, I'm like forgetting stuff, whatever. So I'm like I forgot my bib. Chris Jost from New Balance is like running over to get my bib, and I get it, and I'm just like a little panicked. And I hear, Ali Zealand breaks the record, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like we gotta lock in real quick. But that was, it was a crazy series of events for sure.
did you see the boys race this year? Most depressing thing ever.
I didn't.
Oh, you
Oh,
didn't?
really? Wait. Hold on. Remind me who won?
Well, so Quentin Nauman won, and he ran a remarkable race. He ran 3:58, and he closed in 54, and he was only a junior, so crazy race. But basically what had happened was there were 5 boys going into the race who had broken for going into the race, and then there were a bunch of others who were like right on the line. And so there was just so much hype going into it, and there's so many people who had just broken it or wanted to break it, that I had never sensed more like everyone was really shaky at the line. And so naturally, as you can imagine, everyone went out so dang fast and got so physical because they went in position. And someone went down and slammed the track and later found out broke his collarbone. So they called the race
Oh,
back.
shoot.
but the person who broke his collarbone was laying on the track, and he obviously had to have like medics arrive, and I think he got carted. So then everyone else is just like terrified out of their mind and doing strides back and forth, because it was probably like 10 or 15 minutes before the gun went off. And then the gun goes off and everyone's super scared, and they go through in like 3:03, and that's not how you break formats in a mile.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just a really tough race where it's like, if it got off smoothly the first time, I mean, we'll never know, but I think it's safe to assume that that really messed with a lot of people. And that's where I've always said, like, not that anyone really thought that Alan Webb's record would go down, but like even breaking 4 minutes in the mile, or like breaking 4:30 if you're a girl, like things have to happen on the day because random stuff like that happens. And it's so unpredictable. Like, it's way harder to get it done on the day than I think people realize.
Oh,
so,
for
yeah,
sure.
It was crazy this year. It was absolutely crazy this year.
That's insane.
So, yeah. Other ranking question: favorite cross course and favorite track in California.
Oh, in California.
Let's keep it in California.
Yeah, that makes it a little easier. I'll say Clovis, Woodward Park, our state meet is definitely the best cross country course. I think you always have to focus on something. There's like transitions, there's obviously dirt. It's what California cross country is. But dirt and like cement, and then it's pretty hilly, like most of the courses. But yeah, I think you always have something to focus on, which is great. And then track-wise, I think I'll have to give it to Buchanan again, because their stadium, actually, I'd say it might be a tie between let's see, Jay Sarah's track. I really like that track where the 10 was hosted a couple years ago. Or the big stadium where we have our state meet, which is at Buchanan High School.
No Arcadia, crazy.
I won't. I was going to say Arcadia, but I feel like the times never really match up with like what people are expecting. The environment is like insane, and maybe on the guys' side, I think you see probably more like of those times show up, but like, I feel like in general, obviously, like, it's a crazy atmosphere. There's like fans on every turn, every straightaway. But yeah, I think just because it's not as fast, I wouldn't put it up there.
Last rankings question: favorite easy run route back home and favorite workout route. Or like workout spot that you'd go to.
So yeah, in Ventura, there's not a whole lot of trails. So we kind of just run along the promenade at the beach, which I do miss running at the beach, I will say. But yeah, that's pretty much our workout spot, recovery run spot, everything. So yeah, that is something I do miss. But I think like something that Ventura doesn't have is like obviously like all this greenery and trails and all that, which is good to switch it up. So yeah, and then I guess like, because workouts will either go to the beach or we'll go just Ventura's track, which does have a nice view of the beach as well. So
dang, so you're like right on the beach, right on the water.
Yeah.
Would you go in a lot after runs or in general?
After runs, I not really, kind of just with my friends that don't run. We go there at like 10:30, leave at like 5. And get in and out. It was a time. But yeah.
Do you miss California at all, or not really?
It's weird. Like I don't want to go home, but I do. Sometimes I think of like, oh, I miss this person. Like I would say something like that would remind me of one of my friends, and I'd be like, oh dang, like they would have really laughed at that. Stuff like that. But I don't really want to go home, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah, I see my parents in like a week and a half, so that'll be fun. I think they're gonna come here.
That's amazing. Yeah. Are you the only one from your high school that you know of that went to NC State, I'm assuming?
Oh yes, 100%. people don't
Yeah.
even know what NC State is, and that was a huge thing for me when I was getting recruited. Is like it was between Stanford, Oregon, obviously like West Coast schools, and then NC State, and people were just like, "Why? Like, what's NC State?" I'm like, you just don't understand." Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they've won a few things.
yeah, I like every day. I'm just so glad. I tell, the freshman girls are already pretty close. I just tell them every day. I'm like, I am so glad I made this decision. Like, it's very reassuring to just wake up and be like, oh, this place is great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Talking about track a little bit, I feel like the women's 15 is getting more stacked than it's ever been at the NCAA level. So you're coming in at a fun time. What's your perspective on, yeah, just how crazy things have gotten and how now you're kind of carrying the torch of the next chapter of people who were really good in high school now coming into college? Might take a few years to develop, but are going to carry that torch. I forget her name, but the girl at Oregon, I think, just set the all dates collegiate record at
Yep.
Worlds. Like, people are just running out of their minds, it feels like.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good position to be in for me, just because I don't have any of those expectations on me from other people, but obviously I have goals for myself, and I think I deserve to be up with whoever's at the top. So, yeah, I'm gonna work for that, and I think coach knows that I'm pretty ambitious, and she wants to help me, reach those goals. So I think it's a great time for the 1500 as well. Like you said, that times are just getting faster. Like, seems like almost every month. So yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of it, to be honest.
Glossing over it because it just happened. You just signed an NIL with Brooks. I think I met you for the first time at Brooks PR, and I think you started going to that meet freshman year, which kind of established some affiliation with the brand. Take me behind that decision and what it's like to be Brooks as you start this next chapter in college.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited. I met with Garrett, and talked with him at USA's, and I just really liked what he had to say. And a big thing that I love is just their like involvement with like social media and different things, like going to speak at different things. I feel like I'm a pretty social person, and I like doing stuff like that. Talking to younger people, and yeah, just I feel like there was a lot of extra things like that that I liked. So, and obviously they're great people, and Brooks shoes are comfortable and fast. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, it's cool. This new chapter is very, very cool.
Final serious question for you. What's the final takeaway message that you want to leave with the audience? Can be anything.
Oh, gosh. I'd say I'm trying to say something that I haven't said before on the podcast.
I honestly don't remember what you said in the past, so
I feel like
go
I'm
for
always
it.
just like, have
If you
fun.
said the same thing, yeah, you should say it again.
Yeah, I think you know it's good to have a balance of serious and serious fun is what my high school coach used to say. And like I think a lot of times people can get super wrapped up in like results and all of that, and just feel like they have to prove something, which if that's like your personal goal, that's great, but I feel like it needs to like stay under control for I guess that longevity in the sport. But yeah, I think that balance is just crucial between working hard and also knowing that you're not just a runner. I think is a huge thing.
It's so cool to be able to look back and be like, oh, here was Sadie her sophomore year, and here's what she was thinking, or here's what she was thinking after she set the national record, or now like here's what Sadie's mindset was at going into her collegiate years before she inevitably dominates. So I always appreciate your time and your willingness to do this. But I do have one final subject. We always close with him. The man in Toronto, Drake, supposedly coming out with an album. What's your take on this? Have you seen the TikTok releases of, I think National Treasure is what it's being pinged as. What's the Drake tea from Sadie?
Oh, I was on that YouTube live stream. I don't know if you saw that, but he sometimes posts these like 9 p.m. whatever on his story, and I go to his YouTube and I watch. There were some snippets of the album. So I'm so excited. I'm like I feel like I was always a Drake fan, but my friend back home got me into it like way more now. Like it's like I listen to him in a different way, and like every song just hits. So I'm so excited. I don't think he can make bad music, honestly.
Is this gonna put him back up with Kendrick, or is he
Uh
already there?
oh, he's past Kendrick. Let's be real.
I mean, here's my thing: is I've always thought Drake. I like Drake's music way more. He's always on my Spotify Wrapped. Kendrick never is.
Yeah.
I just think he got bodied.
That's the thing. Yeah,
So I
the
think he needs a big comeback.
for sure. He I think, but also at the same time, some of his songs like Family Matters was pretty good when he came back. But then yeah, Kendrick just clocked him. It was unfortunate. But yeah, I think in general, like I think I said this before, like Kendrick's more of like artistic with it, and I feel like Drake just makes, I don't know, like his real lyrics are sometimes relatable and more like, I don't know, popular, um, like easy to relate to. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Drake's a better artist. I think Kendrick is like, here's how I put it: Drake's a better like musician. Kendrick's a better
yes,
artist. Like
yes,
Kendrick makes art where you listen and you're like, well, that was impressive, the lyrics and how he made that piece. But it's not the type of thing where like I listen to the song "Views" by Drake or "When to Say When" or like 8 a.m. in Charlotte, and I'm like, this is like a
yeah,
spiritual experience in my
I know,
ears.
yeah,
And I don't really feel that as much with Kendrick. Like Kendrick, I'm like, whoa, I
no,
don't know what
no,
you're talking about. This is impressive. Drake, it's like, I have never experienced this level of dopamine in my
I
life. I
know,
don't know what you cooked. Yeah.
yeah, that just it just makes him Drake. That feeling, I think, because everyone, it's like everyone feels like that when they listen to his song. So I feel like he has to be on top, but I don't know. To each their own. Drake's always going
Well,
to be on
Drake's
top
coming
for me.
back. Yeah. Sadie's about to rip it up on the college scene. Sadie, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with everything and keep crushing it.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
you.
much, Dominic.